Hi, and welcome to another tutorial for Excel users. In this tutorial we're going to look at printing again, and in this particular case we're looking at printing databases or lists of information as we have here. And if I scroll down, you'll see I've extended the list a little bit. I've just copied some of the information down to row 70 to make the table a bit bigger, so I can demonstrate a few things in this tutorial. And if I just go to print preview straight away without clicking on anything in particular, you'll see what we get. And without you selecting anything or making any other settings, Excel assumes you want the entire worksheet printing. So in this case it's included my title and obviously all the columns and rows from the table. If you look down the bottom left, there's a little preview marker there, tells me I'm looking at page 1 of 2 pages. So if I just scroll down one page, you can see my second page of data. Now, one of the problems here is you'll notice that the column headings don't appear, and if you have a list of data where it's important to know what each column means and it's not clear by just looking at the data, then you'll want to be repeating the column headings on every page of your printout, as we have on page 1. If you go to the page setup option, which might seem reasonable, and come to the sheet tab, you have obviously 4 tabs of options there, you'll see rows to repeat at the top. And one of the problems you may encounter is that when you come to this through print preview, there's nothing you can do. You can't click on those options there, so you might be a bit mystified and wondering how you can access that. Well, there is a way, obviously. Now, if I cancel out of that, close the print preview, and this time go to the File menu and come to Page Setup through the File menu. And this time if I come to the Sheet tab, I've got rows to repeat at top again, and this time I can access this feature by clicking a little button at the end of the row there. So if I click on that, the dialog shrinks down and it's waiting for me to select the row that I want to be repeated. And all I need to do here is click on row 4, which is the row I want repeating, return that dialog to its original size by clicking that same button. You'll see it puts $4 colon $4 in there, which simply means Excel is going to use row 4 as its repeating header on each page of your printout. So I can now from here click the print preview button. There's page 1, which is as it was before with the title and the column headings, and if I scroll down to page 2 now and just zoom in there, you'll see there are my column headings on page 2. If I had a 3rd, 4th page, it would obviously repeat on those as well. So that's very quickly how you get your column headings to repeat on pages of your printout. Now there is a little problem with that if I had a spreadsheet with let's say some other stuff on it, what would happen when I printed the spreadsheet? So let's go back to print preview, and you can probably see straight away if we come and just zoom in down the bottom, and it says page 1 of 4, so we know something's happened. And if I scroll down, pages 1 and 2 look okay. When we get to page 3, there's a problem there. The problem basically is Excel is printing the entire row 4 as your repeating header. So even though there's no data there to continue, Excel wants to print everything that's on row 4. And if you had 100 columns with information in on row 4, you would get 100 columns of data repeating on your printouts. So be careful of that. And how do we avoid it? Well, the only way really is to make sure Excel knows exactly what you want printing. And the way to do that is simply to select the information you want to print before you go to print. So bear in mind that I've already told Excel that I want row 4 to repeat. That information is already in there. I'm going to now just select the table itself and scroll down. Well, I'll tell you what, some of you might be thinking, hang on a minute, I'm not going to click and drag over hundreds of rows of data, and you're quite right, you don't have to do that. All you need to do is click into cell, in this case A4, which is the very first cell of my table. Hold down on your keyboard, bottom left, go to the Control and Shift key, press both those keys, Control and Shift. Press the right arrow once, that'll jump from first column to last column of your table and select all that. Press the down arrow once and that will then select all the rows in the table. In other words, everything in the table is now selected. We'll do that one more time just to give you a little refresher. So Control and Shift held down, right arrow key, down arrow key, and you've selected the table. From that point, you can then go to the File menu. A couple of things I can do. I can go to the Print option, choose Print Selection, and if I click on Preview now, you'll see I get exactly what I want, just the table with my repeating header rows or header row and only 2 pages rather than the extra stuff on that spreadsheet. Close that down. Alternatively, if I go to File, I can choose Print Area and set Print Area. And that's basically forcing Excel to only print my print area. So I'm saying just print that stuff whenever I choose print. And if I go to Print Preview now, you'll see again, just as I did when I said Print Selection, Excel only prints what is in my print area. If I change my mind and I want to print the entire spreadsheet again, you simply go back to File, Print Area, and choose Clear Print Area. Go back to Print Preview, and this time we now get the extra stuff on the worksheet. Okay, so that's a few things to watch out for when you're printing. Number one is make sure that your column headings repeat over your pages. Number two is making sure that what you get on your printout is exactly what you wanted to see and not extra stuff that might be hidden on the spreadsheet and waste paper. There's nothing worse than watching someone print out hundreds of sheets of paper because they forgot to select the right things on their spreadsheet. Okay, so I hope you found that tutorial useful, and I'll see you in the next video.